Today's a special day, like we said already, and it's it's always a very special day when a man gets to graduate, and we get to all stand up here and see how it all came about. So we're looking forward to Lewis's story here in a little bit. But I'd like to say a few things first. If we all want to. The prodigal son came to me when I was praying about this graduation, and so I think the guys are going to put it up on the screen if you want to read along, or open your Bibles to Luke 15, chapters 11 through 32. All right. And he said, a man had two sons. The younger of them said to his father, "Father, give me my share of the estate that falls to me." How many of us have said that? So he divided the wealth between the two sons. And not many days later, the son gathered everything together and went on into a distant country. And there he squandered his estate. We do that even with our paychecks every week sometime. And loose living. And now he had spent everything. A severe famine occurred in that country, and he began to be impoverished. So he went and hired himself out to one of the citizens of that country. And he sent him in the fields to feed swine, feed pigs. And he would have gladly filled his stomach with the pods that the swine were eating, and no one was there to give him anything to him. But when he came to his senses, sobered up in my case, he said, "Father, how many of my father's hired men have more than enough bread, and I'm dying here of hunger? I'll get up and go to my father, and I will say to him, 'Father, I have sinned against you in heaven and in your sight, and I'm no longer worthy of you.'" Isn't that so true to all of us? Self-pity, low self-worth because we've done something wrong. So he got up and came to his father. But while he was still a long way off, his father saw him and felt compassion for him and ran and embraced and kissed him. And the son said to the father, "Father, I have sinned against you and in your sight. I'm no longer worthy to be called your son." But the father said to his slaves, "Quickly bring out the best robe and put it on him, and put a ring on his hand and sandals on his feet, and bring the fatted calf and kill it. Let us eat and celebrate, for this son of mine was dead and now has come to life again, and like many of us, lost and has been found." And they began to celebrate. Now the older son was in the field, and when he came and approached the house, he heard the music and the dancing. And he began and he summoned one of the servants and began to inquire what these things could be. And he said to them, "Your brother has come home, and your father has killed a fatted calf because he has received him back safe and sound." But he became angry and was not willing to go in. And his father came out and began pleading with him. But he answered and said to his father, "Look, for so many years I've been serving you. I've never neglected one of your commands, and yet you've never given me a young goat so that I might celebrate with my friends. But when this son of yours, who has devoured your wealth with prostitutes and wrong living, you killed a fatted calf for him." And he said to him, "Son, you have always been with me, and all that is mine is yours. But we have to celebrate and rejoice. Celebrate and rejoice when a brother comes back. When this brother of yours was dead and has begun to live, and is lost, but now has been found. What a great reason to rejoice." Don't you all agree? Well, I wanted to say quickly, there's some of that in all our lives, but I'm sure Lewis can relate to some of that as well. I'd like to say this is a program. We like to say it's a program, but when it becomes a way of life, it changes. And for any man to stand here that has made it through the program is an opportunity to start a new way of life. Some people go through the program, some people go through the program again, and some people just coast. But those that put their heart in it and work hard and struggle throughout the program are the ones that are getting the program, and they're getting the most out of their time. And those are the ones that are succeed, I believe. They put the program way of life now to their feet, and they live with the Lord. I've seen Lewis push through many, many, many things, and I'll say he's done one of the best programs I've seen in a while. So I'm proud to stand up here and say to be a part of this. Sometimes we say it's easier to learn from others' mistakes, and that sure is for all of us in this room. And I'm happy to recall that even though Lewis was here before, we were in the program together. Also, I was there and answering the phone and was able to field some of those phone calls when I know he was calling out for help and trying to come back in this way. So I'm very excited to see what Lewis has done, and I know you're going to be excited to hear what the Lord has done in his life since he's been here again. Let's give him a hand of applause.
Well, good morning, church. I feel like I'm going into processing class on a Friday. Graham's around the corner. My story is like the prodigal son. I stepped out of God's will. I was a graduate from here in 2016, and it was a tough program I had, and I needed a lot of discipline, when I first got here the first time, and they give it to me, and God gave me the tools I needed, but knowing he wasn't done with me, and I told him I was done with him, and I decided to, go test my waters, and for a little while, I was out for 5 years. During the duration from that, I got, at the time I came into the program, I was married, and now I'm divorced due to my sinful natures, and all that. I have 2 children, Mallory and Kyle. Due to my addiction as well, they are part of my life, but not right now at the moment. I made some bad choices in my life, and that was one of the products of, taking things in my own control, in my own hands. There's been a lot since those 5 years has have, God gave me everything I really wanted, because when I was in the program, one of my wishes were to restore everything that I had, and he did that. During my sinful ways and everything, he provided, good jobs for me, income, clothes on my back. And he did his part, but I didn't do my part. I decided to, do it my way and put one foot in, one foot out. Going to church, sitting on the back row, and hiding my guilt and shame, like that song says, leave your shame and guilt at the door. I didn't. I brought it back in. And I carried that thing for a while. It got to a point where, in my addiction, that I had to live in my addiction to alcohol, because I couldn't deal with life where it was, the mistakes that I had made, and it wasn't a good feeling. Came to my point in July of last year, where I ended up in the hospital 4 times out of 1 month. And my last one there, it was. Doctor told me, you're going to die eventually, but it just seems like, this is home to you. This is where you get your love and your acceptance, talking to the nurses and putting needles in your arm. And on that day, one of those days, I did reach out, and I know this was always home. Brother Mickey told me a long time ago, because I did graduate from Dunklin 2006. And he said, Lewis, does anybody ever tell you they loved you? And I said, not really. And then he had told me that. And he always told me one thing, that this would always be your home, no matter how bad of a person you can ever see yourself. But I see you got potential in you. There's a lot of people in my life today that we speak see more potential in myself than I do myself daily. And I'm proud for those people to be in my life. And I respect them very highly for that. Today, I can honestly say that I've gone through some challenges here. On November 19th of last year, I lost my father in the program. He was one of my good Samaritans that brought me here. And one of his wishes before he passed away was me to finish this program strong. I hate this part. Sometimes I can't get through it. But today I can honestly say I'm stepping up here as a man, and I'm halfway there. You know, I came to a challenge from phase 1, and I met it, and he'd be proud of me if he was here. But, you know, one thing Brooks said, and of his passing of his father, that he knows where his father's at, and he's watching down on him. And that's what my father's doing, probably hanging out next to Brooks' dad, looking down at both of us. So I'm grateful for that. I can honestly say that. You know, things are different. Today I'm being challenged a lot. And for the guys in the program, you know, one of the things that challenged me a lot was I was processing in class on Friday. And I was at my worst point, you know, losing my father, and I had a lot of I was miserable inside. I mean, everybody could see it, but I couldn't see it. And it was either make or break that time. And Lance had pointed out, man, we did everything we can do to help you. You know, you refused to help yourself. And I wanted to give up. I said that was it. I wanted to give up. But they didn't want me to. They seen potential in me. You know, they gave me challenges. Nathan had to sit right there at the end and said, you know, with Lance, I said, we got something for you, Lewis. And like I said, in like everything, when that thing comes up, and that first thing I say is, whoa, no, something's going to happen. But in the midst of that, they put me in the kitchen. And one of my struggling points when I was in the program is, you know, I was tested and challenged so many times, and in the kitchen, me cook. I don't see that happening. But Jesus did. He put me in there, and Damien gave me this book about, you know, what's going to take to be in this kitchen. And one of the things they told me in the handbook is have a good attitude and be a servant. And I told myself, well, I got to do this right, or I'm really going to be in some serious trouble. So it became a Lewis had to do thing to oppose to showing myself, seeing these guys coming from a hard day's work, putting food on their plates and putting a smile on their face, changed my life around. I decided I wanted to give back instead of take back. Today I enjoy doing that. I participate every time I can do something. It's either greeting somebody or grabbing that postal and bringing it over here. It just makes me get my Jesus buck so big that when I get up to heaven, I got a fat pocket. So I'm learning, and I want to keep doing this. I'm in a good spot. I work for a good gentleman at Synergy, a man of God. I work with two of the best leaderships here, Lance and Damien. And I miss all my friends here, my relationships. And Chad, that keeps me on my toes all the time. I meant, where can you get a daily life where you can go to work and sit down and say, hey, guys, I'm struggling. And nobody complains about getting prayer, you know, and we carry on. So I'm getting ministering at work as well as here. So I think I'm going to stick around for a little bit, enjoy this road. I've been praying for peace in my heart a lot, and I got it. So with that being said, you know, I did a lot of running around in the world and making my own decisions. You know, for right now, I just want to give it to Jesus, let him handle it. Because I'm tired of just running on my own feelings and losing things and people and destroying people's lives. It's a miserable life. I mean, that's what kind of life I lived. The life I live now is, it has its rough moments, but a peaceful man. I got a bunch of good guys I live with, and food's wonderful because I make it. And a team of guys do it. But, it's good. Life is good. And I'm going to continue pushing forward here. My plans to leave are not soon. God's still doing a lot of work with me. I got still attitudes. The old man's still living inside. I'm looking forward to the challenges. At least I'm in a good place to do it. And I'm just grateful for everybody that has been a part of my life. And I just continue to be, hopefully I can be the servant that I can to this program. I love you guys.
Well, that's a good word, Louis. And don't let him fool you. He can cook good. Well, there you go, Louis. There's your certificate of graduation, and it's well-deserved. A good and faithful servant. We love you. Who's taking pictures today? Mary? Lance, would you come up and do a photo? Look at Mary.